Hello everyone, tonight we're going to be doing some AI dungeon. I've done that since the 12th of technically last month at this point, since it's 1 a.m. on, since in my time zone at least, it's 1 a.m. on July 1st, technically it's still June. If you're across, that's the international date line. But I've got decided on an idea for a couple new prompts. Those for tonight. Let's just go to prompts, custom. I mentioned this in the tweet. I failed to. I'm gonna. Update my kinda lazy stream title right now. That was what we're doing. So basically, the idea I had is basically play tabletop games via AI dungeon. Basically, we set up a prompt of sort of the starting situation of being a player in a tabletop game of some kind, and let the AI be basically the other player or players depending on the game. Which I'm thinking I'm probably gonna go for like Talisman and Pathfinder because not Talisman. I was thinking I'm gonna go with like. Well, the Talisman could be good, but I was thinking I might go with like Magic and Pathfinder because those are, for one thing, tabletop games I've played a lot. And also, they're open-ended enough that I feel the AI can get have a very interesting interpretation of what exactly those games involve, particularly like, for instance, what kind of characters you can build in Pathfinder and what kind of cards exist in Magic the Gathering. So let's start with Magic first since it's a simpler one. Although it probably has a pretty good sort of skill set. So, and I'm pretty sure I feel like they recommend that you go for fantasy with the prompts because the AI is good at doing fantasy, so Pathfinder can probably handle pretty well. Which I mean, it's going to be at an advantage in both games because both have a medieval fantasy aesthetic. Anyway, right, so the prompt is going to be you have just sat down at your local game store for a game of Magic Gathering. You and your opponent have both shuffled elder decks and drawn your initial hands of 7 cards. Alright, let's see how it. You're not ready to play. You're still in the process of deciding what kind of story you want to tell with this game. The first thing that comes to mind is, man, Too bad we went with Magic first and not Pathfinder. Because. Alright, let's. But hey, I mean, what if I win? What would happen then? Would you be able to live up to all the stories you've written about yourself on your blog or Facebook page? How would it change anything? Oh, so. So apparently our character has a bit of a social media presence. And they're trying to, like. They're. And, like, when they say they're still in the process of deciding what kind of story you want to tell with this game, they mean, what? How am I going to boast about this on the internet? Look at the cards in your hand. Might as well find out. Alright, so we have. You're holding a Boreal Centurion, a Huggle Hunter, a Merfolk Skald, a Simic Flusher, an Azorius Herald, a Brooding Shaman, and a Goblin Raider. A Brooding Saurian. Let's find out if any of those are actual magic cards. To its credit, it knows some of the words. Like, it picked a couple guilds, so I guess we're in band or something. Either that or either Simic, Hig Flusher, or Azorius Herald is either monocolored or hybrid. Let's see. So Boreal Centurion isn't anything. Neither is Noggle Hunter. Merfolk Skald is from a completely different game, apparently. And Simic Flusher isn't a thing. Oh, we actually have one actual card. I guess really I can just go with Gatherer. We have two actual cards. Like three, and we're in at least three colors. So it looks like we're actually going Naya. So I guess Simic Flusher's green? I'm thinking Merfolk are usually blue. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, there's one small problem that we have. We don't have any links. Right, so I mean that's not all how mulligans work. You discard hard cards, you or isn't choosing to keep. It's just gonna try and nudge it in the right direction as to how that mechanic works. You're now holding a glimpse of the void, a merfolk scald, a plated sultan, a sliver, a Azorius herald, a brewing saurian, a goblin raider, and an order of the stars. That's not anything. That's something. And that's something. Still no lands. Right. Take more Vulcans until you get a hand with lands in it. You have a starting hand of Mountain Valley Forest. You quickly examine your hand and decide your content. we, we mulligan to 2 just to get lands. Right. Play the Mountain Valley and pass the turn. If you're not playing any spells or abilities yet, you're presented with a choice how to use the ability granted by your pod. What pod? Like, do we have a birthing pod somehow? But that would take 3 mana minimum. 4 if we don't want to spend any life. Right, pass the turn to your opponent. Look at your hand, which contains a large creature, several smaller creatures, and a few new spells in an island. That's not anything. Like, it's just it's just not letting our opponent play. Hey, because it's let me see if I'm yeah, I'm on Dragon, so wait for the opponent take his turn. I mean, you refer to our opponent as a he, so. Opponent draws his card for the turn and looks back at you, waiting for you to make your move. Opponent is at 17 life, and you have no creatures in play, no available mana to summon the. That last part is accurate, but. Uh, but the 17 life, I'm not sure how that happened. Like, how's her opponent already taken 3 damage? You know what? I'm going to interpret waiting for you to make your move as he drew and passed. So I guess maybe he also didn't get any lands in his hand. Which draw a card for her turn. Hey, we can. You draw a card into your hand as Mountain. You have no playable lands and no creature cards that can help you yet, but we do have playable lands because we can crack Mountain Valley, or we can and we can play our forest or our mountain. Play the forest in your hand. You're gonna have mana advantage, being able to produce either blue or green mana. That's not how that works. And also, we only have. We also only have 2 lands in play, but activate Mountain and Valley. His ability to merge your library for a mountain and put it on the battlefield. Gotta phrase things very precisely. I mean, we only have 1 land in play that produces red mana. The other produces green. But since all that's left in our hand is a mountain, and it's time to pass the turn. We're still doing pretty good for having mulled to 2. Your opponent has played a swamp. Finally, our opponent drew a land, and I guess the game continues for another few turns, during which you take a lot of mental notes. I'm not going to let you gloss over the rest of this. Draw your card for. Draw a card for your turn. I'm going to see how it makes this like Naya or possibly even 4-color deck work. This deck that seemingly has. The only red card you have is Order of Summoning, a spell that summons a 2/2 soldier. You also have a Creeping Mold, the spell that destroys all brown and black creatures. That's not drawing a card. Draw a card into your hand. It is a plains. You have no playable lands and no creature cards that can help you yet. Your opponent has played an island and passes the turn back to you. Yeah, I'm just gonna edit it and say you play mountain in your hand and pass the turn. Gotta don't want to just glossing over my turn. And putting me at a mana disadvantage. As much as I'm, now sitting here with just the planes. But hey, we should have all three colors of mana we're using. Draw a card for your turn. Draw a card into your hand. It is a swamp. You play the plains in your hand, pass the turn back to your opponent. You reverse play the mountain and pass the turn back to you. Or just play. Hey, at least it had me play something this time. Sitting here with a swamp. Draw a card for your turn, and hope it's not a land. Although we almost have every color of mana available. Draw a card into your hand. It is an island. You play the swamp and pass the turn back to your opponent. Now we're getting too many lands. Your opponent has played a plane and passes the turn back to you. You now have one land that produces green mana. Indeed. We do have one land that produces green mana. We have nothing to spend that green mana on. Because we've yet to draw. Right. Draw a card for turn and hope it's not a land. You're disappointed when you draw land into your hand. It is a swamp. You play the island in your hand and pass the turn back to your opponent. Press play plains and passes the turn back to you. You now have two lands to produce grand mana. No. Draw a card for your turn and hope it's not a land. Alright, so now it's caught on. It's playing the game for me now. You're disappointed when you draw land into your hand. It's a swamp. You play the swamp in your hand and pass the turn back to your opponent. Your play an island passes the turn back to you. Draw a card for your turn. It is a mountain. You have two lands that produce red. You play the island in your hand. We don't have an island in our hand. I'm going to assume that it should have been mountain. Because you've only drawn one. There's only been an island you've drawn this entire game. Right, so. See, like you've only drawn a single island. Let's see what our next card is. It is a Merfolk Scald. You have right. Check the mana cost of the Merfolk Scald. Because you might actually be able to play something. Merfolk Scald will cost two green to cast. That is not how that works. You tap your island and swamp to cast the Merfolk Scald. Cast the Merfolk Scald. But we finally cast something with our forest and two other lands. And we do indeed have one land that produces blue. Pass the turn. We're not drawing a card for our turn. Alright, we have the thing. read the abilities of Merfolk Scald. Because remember, this isn't a real magic card, so you have no baseline to go on. Quietly humming to themselves, the Merfolk Scald holds 3 charges. These can be spent to sing a song in battle, granting all your merfolk +1/+1. Alright, so I guess it's got 3 charge counters, and can probably tap and remove a charge counter to grant all merfolk you control +1/+1 until end of turn. Check Merfolk Scald's power and toughness. The Merfolk Scald has a power and toughness of 2. You tap your island, swamp, and mountain to cast the Merfolk Scald onto the battlefield. Right number of lands, everything else is wrong. Because for one thing, there's no green in there. Why the Merfolk is green, who knows? Maybe it's from Exelon. And we already cast it and don't have a second one in hand. Right, attack with the Merfolk Scald to deal 2 damage to your opponent. Gotta be very specific. It says few ways it can completely misinterpret it. Secretly hoped your actions would enrage the Selkie. Her reaction was quite the opposite. The Selkie laughs and grabs the skull from her hand, smashing it against the icy floor. That is... Swing your Merfolk Scald over full swing at your opponent. You're offered the chance to activate the Scald Surge. This grants all your merfolk an extra +1/+1. Okay, so I guess it's an on-attack trigger. Activate Surge. You know, get that, because it's also Scald empowers itself. Surging Merfolk Scalds swing with a force befitting a much larger creature. The opposing wizard is knocked into the air and flies backwards 10 yards, flipping head over heels before smashing into the ground. That is how I'm going to dramatize it on my Facebook page. This 3 damage I have dealt to my opponent. Pass the turn to your opponent. Your opponent draws a card for their turn and plays a mountain. They then pass the turn back to you. You draw a card to turn into your hand. It is a forest. Play the forest, then attack. Then attack again with your Merfolk Scald. At least Merfolk Scald is good. You know, dropped our opponent down to 17. No, we do not. We do not tap our Island Salt Mountain Forest to cast the Gutter Grime. That's not even the right amount of mana. But we don't have Gutter Grime. So I'm just gonna retry that. No, we don't have another Merfolk Scald either. I'm just gonna take it at that point, because at least you attack with your Merfolk Scald to deal 2 damage to your opponent. No opportunity to activate the Surge, though. Pass the turn. Everyone draws a card, or for the turn plays a plane. And so they then pass the turn back to you. Draw a card into your hand, it is a planes. Play the plane, means an attack. Merfolk Scald. Rolled once again. They're down to 15. 12 if you count the. You attack the Merfolk Skull to deal 2 damage to your opponent. I do not win the game because they still have at least 10 life remaining. Pass the turn. Draws a card for their turn, plays an island. They then pass the turn back to you. Draw a card into your hand. It is a mountain. Play the mountain. Then attack Merfolk Oak Scald for another or 2 damage. We could probably at least start activating the surge again. No, I don't summon another Merfolk Scald. I don't have one. Okay, so I... No? I think maybe if... I'm gonna say there are 10. Let's see. 2, 2, 2, 6, 8. Actually, no. 9. So they should be at 11. Yeah, I'm gonna give them the 3 back that the game randomly took from them. Their opponent draws a card for their turn and plays an island. Draw a card into your hand and realize you've run out of land. Check what card you drew. If we've run out of lands, then we must have drawn something else. Ah, we drew a lightning bolt. I'm just gonna... Gonna edit that real quick. Technically, just in case. Okay, yeah. Is 3 damage to any target. But we've still not won yet. Attack. With the Merfolk Oak Scald. Deprives 8 life. You attack with the Merfolk Scald to deal 2 damage to your opponent. They then pass it as a turn back to you, so they don't even play a land this time. Draw a card for your turn. Also, they should be at 6. Well, I guess because it specifies as attacking after it said 38 life, that means that they're at 6 now. I thought we were out of lands. But now we have a swamp. I'm just gonna... It also has no clue what... It suddenly has no clue what swamp is. I'm just gonna update that to attack with Merfolk Oak Scald for 2 2 damage. Your opponent draws a card for their turn and plays an island. They're sitting at 4 life and have played nothing but lands this entire time. When passes a turn back to you, draw a card, load it into your hand and realize you've run out of lands. Never mind, it just said we drew Swamp. Check what card you drew. Since it didn't specify, the card you drew was Fiery Impulse. Yep. I mean, it is 2 damage, but you have no targets for the Fiery Impulse because it's target creature. So, and also our opponent is at 4 life. Attack with Merfolk Skull to activate its Surge. Surge for 3 damage. Because, fortunately it bumps itself when you activate the Surge. Your opponent is at 1 life. That happened after we attacked, but your opponent offers you a draw. Fruit use their offer and swing in for the kill. I hope it's not going to interpret that as literal murder. Therefore, surges over the line, killing your opponent. You win the game. I'm not gonna take an intentional draw after a match went so thoroughly in my favor. Shuffle your cards back into our hand. You're ready for game 2. And I misphrased that. I meant library. This game is going to be played using the modern deck construction rules. Make sure you've read them before you start. The winning player will be the first to reduce their opponent from 20 to 0 life. Now presumably we are playing modern, since I'm pretty sure a lot of the cards we were using, that's a format that most of the cards we were using are legal in, and it's distinctly not standard unless we're playing in a world where those got reprinted around the same time that Merfolk Skull got printed. You mulligan to 6 and keep an average hand. Your opponent mulligans to 5 and then keeps a below average hand. You're both playing red-green trolls. Oh, I guess it's not a tournament, we're just playing modern now. You will spend the first few turns playing lands and doing minor things, but nothing really stand out. Interesting phrasing there, but nothing really stand out. Everyone has a 20 life. It's currently your opponent's 5th turn. You've not used all your mana yet, and you still have all cards left in your hand. Spend your turn casting 2 Kavu Titans. Kavu Titan is a thing, but interestingly enough, not a troll. Despite the fact that we're in red-green trolls. And it's correct, they do deal 2 damage each time they attack, unless you kick them. In which case they get 5 damage. Oh, but they're the ones the Kesakavu Titans. Everyone is at 18 life now somehow. It's now your turn. You have a choice of what to do and how to play. Are you going to give me some options? Apparently not. Check what cards you have in hand. Fireball deals 5 damage to one target. Blazing Salvo kills a creature with 3 damage or less. Wrath of God destroys all your enemy's creatures. I don't think we're playing Red Green Trolls. If we have Wrath of God, seeing as how that's white. Everything else tracks. Except for, things like the fact that Fireball is not 5 damage to one target. And Blazing Salvo does deal 3 damage unless the controller allows it to deal 5 damage himself instead. But we do have Wrath of God apparently. That's Wrath of God, I guess. Since we have that and an ambiguous amount of lands, so you can't. That's Wrath of God and destroy all the creatures on the board. Everyone is at 18 life. It's now your opponent's turn. We both took 2 damage somewhere in here. They have nothing left on the board except 2 Kavu Titans. Except they don't. Those just died. Check cards in your hand. And let's say give them indestructible somehow. You have Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Bounty of the Hunt, and Gaia's Touch. Somehow Fireball has been upgraded to 6 damage to a target. Lightning Bolt does 3 damage to a target. Bounty of the Hunt does 3 damage to each creature. Yeah, Bounty of the Hunt is real, but doesn't deal damage. It's distribute 3 8+1/+1 counters. There's among up to 3 creatures. Alright, what does Gaia's Touch do? As such, turns all lands into forests. No, that is not what it does, apparently. It's actually an ability to play an additional forest each turn. You can sacrifice it for 2 green mana. We also clearly have more than 2 lands on the field since we played Wrath of God. Cast a Fireball on your opponent. Let's get 6 damage going. Although, arguably, it should be that we can just... Oh, okay, there's somehow 5 life. You win the game. Never mind just that everyone's at 18. But you know what? I think... Or did I just... Alright, I can just continue. So I'm just gonna save this one. And let's move on to Pathfinder. Right, new game prompts, custom. You and your friends have gathered to play the tabletop role-playing game Pathfinder. You've been playing this game for years, but it's never really come up in conversation until now. Guess we're introducing our friends to the game. So what do you guys want to talk about? Yes, I mean we're all here for a good time. I was thinking about how we got into this. We're just having fun. I mean, well, like I said before, we weren't planning on doing anything bad or illegal. We're here to play Pathfinder. That's not bad or illegal. Unless we're in some bizarre world where, like, maybe it is illegal. You know, grab a character sheet and start rolling up your character for the campaign ahead. Although, I mean, you could very well be the GM. Pick up the D100 and start rolling. I think I'll roll Patrol Rogue for this game. I'm ready to go down the list checking off the boxes. That's not how any of that works. Like, you don't. There's no check off boxes and there's no rolling a D100. You sit there in silence as you go through the process of rolling your character. Well, then go on, you say. I'm just saying, I've been thinking a lot about how we got here, and some things just don't sit right with me at all. What do you mean? Like we're just distinctly not going to be playing Pathfinder, I guess. The life I wanted. It's not what I'm about, and it's certainly not what I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing. Like, are you saying like you don't want the campaign to go on for very long, or are you getting like philosophical about like where your life is at in general? You know, let's don't worry about heavy life stuff right now, and just enjoy the game we all gathered here to play. You all sit down and play and enjoy the game. You get to a certain part of the story where a choice needs to be made. No, I don't want to gloss over everything. Take a deep breath and begin rolling your character. Yeah, I'm going to use stories to try and nudge it along. Using the ABC method, you must first shoot Use your character. There's an ancestry and heritage. You choose. Let's see what it gives us. Roll dice to determine this aspect of your character. Given the amount of options, simply roll a 20-sided dice to determine your character's descent. Roll the die and you're surprised by the result. Okay, so we've got at least 20 ancestries. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure if that's actually the truth. But actually, let's find out right now. See. Okay, there's 22 ancestries in the Pathfinder 2nd Edition role-playing game. So I guess we're leaving 2 out. Like maybe like big android and something else. Since those don't necessarily fit with every since androids don't necessarily fit with every setting. But let's find out what the result is. The choice between an ASMR, a protector, and an angel. One of those is an actual valid option, but also a versatile heritage in this system. You choose the ASMR and decide. Now must decide which ancestry to use as a base for this versatile heritage. Because ASMR is not an ancestry, it's a versatile heritage. Choose from ASMR Protector. ASMR are humans blessed with celestial blood, granting them heightened abilities and the ability to manipulate light. I mean, that's true-ish. Find themselves often taking up the careers of monks or priests. Ability score increase. Your wisdom score increases by 2. No, it doesn't. Being an ASMR doesn't grant. Maybe we're playing first edition, and actually, that would explain a lot. At least the +2 wisdom bonus tracks at least. Even then, the first edition ASMR's spell-like ability is daylight. Choose human as your ancestry with ASMR as your heritage. Since it said human, I'm just gonna go with human. No, my character's not finished, and also, why are you continuing? Maybe it's for some edition of D&D I've never even looked at. And that you have selected your ancestry and heritage time to select your background. Just gonna prod it a bit. Hit once again. Background's noble. Feature, you have an advantage in social situations due to your upbringing. In this case, that's called likely having a bonus to charisma, and starting out trained in the diplomacy skill, and having the noble graces feat automatically. But let's see where this goes. Drawback. No, there's no drawback. I mean, I guess we could roleplay that. We could roleplay missing luxuries. Okay, I think it might be trying to make this Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition because it's saying you have advantage on all knowledge related checks. Also, I'm pretty sure Sage isn't even a background. Let's find out. Nope. Sage is not a background in 2nd edition Pathfinder, which is what we're supposed to be playing. Farmer, you know how to cultivate crops and breed animals. You're also skilled at hunting. Yeah, I'm going to choose the noble whole background. You're of noble birth in one of the many kingdoms dotting the landscape. You received a proper education, learned proper manners, and have the law on your side. Alright. Now you must. Let's choose our character. Here's class. Class is fighter, battle. All hardened masters of weapons in close combat. Again, it's creating abilities. Maybe the next one should just be. Oh, hey, but it does have a concept of things like fighting style and ability score increase. Although for some reason it decided that it's only by 1. In the 2nd edition it's by 2. But maybe we should do an additional prompt and just, play a role-playing game and just see how it goes with it generating the mechanics things on the fly. And you want for noble and an ASMR, I'm just gonna choose a sorcerer class with the celestial bloodline. Because, I mean, that's the obvious option. That's ability, Bloodline Arcana. Your magic is drawn from your celestial heritage. You gain the following benefits. You learn the Sacred Flame cantrip. Okay, so you know what? I'm just gonna. I'm just going to redo this and instead not have any predetermined idea of which role playing game. You and your friends gathered to play tabletop role-playing game together. You're all in the basement of your friend's house, which is filled with bookshelves and toys. Lights are dimmed, candles light the table all as you sit around it. So, you say to yourself, I'm going to be a writer. What do you want to write about? One of your friends asks. Nothing really, you reply. Well, what kind of story would you like to tell? Another one asks. I don't know, a story with a farm boy who slays a dragon and rescues a princess, you ask? Boring, try again. I think for smiling, a story with a swordsman who pulls the aspirin and beats the bad guys. Like, I think I'm just like, okay, fantasy authors make up words. I'm just gonna look around. Oh, there's my bottle of painkillers. Perfect. Better, but let's try again. Guess when we were discussing the thing like right story with you pause thinking. You look around the room, eyes stopping at the bookshelf. A story with a warrior who fights with a dragon in a land of only swords. So, so we are indeed just making shit up by looking around the room, and so we're lying to our friends. Perfect, your friend says. Now let's begin. Take a deep breath as your friends begin to chant. Let us write. They say, "Let us write." What? You repeat. A tale of swords, of warriors, of knights, of interesting pre-tabletop RPG ritual. Before they can finish, the bookshelf opens, revealing a staircase. Your friends all smile as they enter, ready to begin writing. Right? Follow your friends into tabletop RPG chamber. That is why that's why we do the pre RPG ritual. Is because that's how you activate the secret door that leads into the RPG chamber. What should we call ourselves? Also, friend asked, smiling. I think we should come up with a name. Yeah, we need to come up with names for our characters. Come up with a name for your character. Sit on the sheet, frowning. You don't want a stupid, cliche name like Bob. You scan down the list before spying a name you like. I'll be William. So you've got a character name at least. We have William. Right, William, what's your personality like? You think for a moment. I mean, we haven't even decided any, like, mechanical aspects of William. I'm caring to those who need it. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I enjoy reading and. You pause, there's a long silence as your mind draws a blank. Right, so William the Chaotic Good something something, from the sounds of it. Perhaps a wizard? For a few seconds you give up. I can't think of a third one. That's alright, now you have to pick skills and stuff. This book has all the information we need. I guess the reason I haven't picked anything mechanical is because I haven't looked in the book yet. She points to a 000-0000 on the sheet. It assign points to these skills, and these are some of the most important. If you look at the list, willpower, the strength of your mind, determines how many spells you can cast before becoming tired and unable to do so anymore. Finesse, how good you are with finessey things, like picking locks and throwing weapons. Strength, how strong you are. Also, I'm pretty sure it misspelled finesse. It's spelled it finesse. Determines how much you can carry before or becoming over encumbered, and how much damage you can do with weapons. Charm, how likable you are. Or helps you make friends and influence people. Toughness, how resilient you are. The more hit points you have, the less damage you'll take in general. That spread your pointings around fairly evenly, but with a focus on luck and willpower. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe some kind of wizard or equivalent. There you say finishing the sheet. Perfect, Tick remarks. Now that we have that done, let's get you to the fields of Requiem. Go to the fields of Requiem, I guess. Is it part of the tabletop RPG chamber? Neither of those are good. Because, like, now it's forgetting what we're doing. Oh, or maybe this is just part of a ritual. The ritual that is playing a tabletop role playing game. You stand on the edge of the forest, looking out at a massive empty field, countless trees around the area, making it look like a natural fortress. So this is the fields of Re? You begin to ask. Quiet. He hisses. We're going to sneak up on a dragon and stab him in the chest. It's going to be amazing. Don't we need to finish my character first? Like, are we LARPing at this point? Don't have any cool abilities yet. Like, I want to have a nonsense, Tick says. Just run up to it and stab the creature, alright? Alright, you say. I'll be cheering you, William. I'll be cheering for you, William, Tick says. Right? Try to stab the dragon. You hold your sword out, running towards the dragon. The creature lets out a burst of flames, and you immediately let go of the sword, which is now red hot. You trip over yourself, falling to the ground. Say, out of character. This is why you should have let me finish making my character before we started this. I could have been a cool wizard. Yeah, I could have cast a spell on the thing. Shut up, I'm the game master, and I know what's best for my adventure. Take aside, extend your hand to try and pull yourself up. Or are we just gonna leave? Or are we just settling ourselves? As you do, you see a glimmer of silver in the dirt. You pick it up, seeing that it's your sword. Still miraculously in one piece. Oh, like that. Like, I guess the sword fell off our mini. Either that or that's Tick narrating now. Tick is kind of a dick. To be honest. Look to the other players for help reasoning with Tick, or at least he's surviving this encounter. Like guys, please. You look to your friends for help, but they seem to have lost all hope. You see Matt slowly slide down the wall, burying his head in his hands. Like, you just look over, and my friends aren't even seated at the table anymore. And Matt is just like, starting to cry at this point. Look, Tick. Nobody is having any fun at this point. It may be your game to run in how you see me fit. But this keeps up. If I don't think anyone will want to play it anymore. It with you anymore. It's too late to back up now, Will. Just get back, heck into the adventure, Tick says. He begins pushing you towards the dragon as you plead for him to stop. Like, he's like shoving my mini towards the big dragon mini on the board and narrating about how, like, the hand of a god is pushing me towards my destiny. You can't make me play A-Tick. Everyone else is already backed out. When will you learn that this is a collaborative game? You can't just force me to do what you want, Tick. Just make your character do something, Tick says, with that Tick has gone too far. You stand up, pushing him aside. Just shove. Just, I'm not playing this game with you anymore. Beckon your real friends to come with you and to follow and leave. Tabletop RPG chamber. Tick is not among my real friends. Look over to your friends and whisper into each theirs. Are you sure? Eliza asks. Yes, I'm sure. Sure as I'll ever be. You answer. You and your friend slowly. You stand up and start walking towards the exit. We're leaving. Where are you guys going? Tick asks. You've all, all quit the game due to your atrocious game mastering. You can't just quit. You're in the middle of a session, Tick says. We're obviously not having fun. Also, you're a bad game master, you say. Leave, leave the chamber or with your friends and seal it before Tick can escape. This is his punishment for being a bad GM. We did it, you say, pumping your fist. We need to find a way to seal this entrance so Tick can't follow us. Eliza says. Either Tick is a demon whose entire existence is like punishing people by forcing them to play bad role playing games, or this is just part of a ritual. You know, if the GM is bad, we seal him in the chamber. Repeat the chant to seal the chamber. Close your eyes, repeating the chant. And let us write a tale of swords, of warriors, of knights, of... The entrance seals with a thud, trapping Tick inside. Now, let's play this game properly. We'll make characters the whole way through, and we'll have a good time. You and your friends sit down at the table and begin making characters. What's the point, Lucy asks. The stupid gnome just trapped us here. Ah, so Tick is a gnome. So we have official lore that Tick is a gnome whose existence is to torment people by way of role-playing games. The point is, we're going to have fun, you say. As you take out your book and pencil, you hear a beeping noise and feel your chest get very warm. Check the source of the beeping. You immediately find the source of the beeping, pulling out his pocket-sized cassette player. There, the tape is spewing out static before playing an old, familiar voice. Hello, William. The voice says, oh no, it's Tick. the evil gnome that ruins tabletop RPGs. If you're listening to this, you're finally taking my advice and you're making the most of your life. I'm a bit late in giving it to you, but better late than never, eh? Because our character isn't the player playing the character William. I guess this makes up for all those times I stole your candy as a child. Well, I'm still stealing it, but that's beside the point. You're probably wondering what I mean. Oh, so maybe Tick isn't so limited in his forms of torment, so much as he's just a gnome that torments people in very childish ways, like ruining their tabletop game sessions and stealing their candy. Which I mean, that is a pretty gnomish way of tormenting someone, I guess. Well, I'm talking about your reclusive and lonely lifestyle. I was the same way when I was your age. We're getting Tick Lord just out of nowhere. Don't get me wrong, I had friends, but I never really related to them. I was so busy having fun and living life to bother with things like that. When I had your when I had your age, I didn't have the maturity that I do now. I was wild and free. I did whatever I wanted to help with anyone who said otherwise. I have to thank the old man for fixing all that. When he was sent to kill me, we had a lengthy battle. I thought it would be a quick and painless affair. Or it wasn't. Just get to the point, dude. The old man fought with a ferocity I've never seen before. We blasted each other with point blank with our pistols, and continued to fight with swords, axes, the works. We impatiently for Tick to get it to. Actually, you know what? Fast forward the cassette until the recording Tick gets to the point. That's another thing about Tick, I guess. I'd chosen to live a secluded life at that point. Why? Because I was a scared kid who didn't want to lose anyone ever again. Just thoughts I'm having as I fast forward this long ass cassette. It's embarrassing, really. I just lost a battle to the old man, and oh no, this is just more Tick. I just lost a battle to the old man, and in true vampiric fashion, I ran off into the woods and caroled like a baby. So he's a gnome vampire, I guess. I was a disgrace to my kind, hiding from the world out of fear. I didn't want anyone to care. Then I cared about to die. Continue fast forwarding. First thing Tick for his long-windedness. Like, come on, dude. I just sealed you away into the tabletop RPG chamber. I don't need your life story right now. I ended up living a reclusive life that continued into my adulthood. I started to become comfortable with it. I didn't realize it at the time. The old man was a blessing in disguise. Not because he defeated me, but because of the fear that he instilled in me. A wise man once told me that fear can be a powerful motivator, and in this case, he was right. Throw the cassette player at the wall in frustration. Thank goodness for that wise man. If it wasn't for him, I'd still be a coward. I was so scared of losing anyone else I isolated myself. Still playing. You see, the cassette's audio is white noise. Will you get back to the game with your friends? When you get back to the game, you find that your friends have created 3 new characters: a cunning rogue type, a battle-hardened warrior, and a young healer type. Alright, so that did it. That managed to get their character to tune out, look over their selections, real all come with fairly balanced choices. The decisions you make from here on out will be important. Who do you want to spend more time with? Ah, so you've sort of like having like a Danganronpa free time event thing happen now or something. Again, those were never important to the story. Will you be the warrior with your friends need you to be, or will you branch out and do your own thing? It's up to you. Be he's a he's a wizard you always wanted to be. Decide to pick the wizard type. Let's play. You decide. And you say, what do you decide to be? And your friends ask. Uh, say, I'm a wizard. You say with a smile. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that option because the other option takes a very literal interpretation. Presumably, we have a fourth friend who's being a game master. One's like, nice one, Tick. Oh no, I've become him. maybe, maybe the battle with Tick was never real. It was just me fighting my own inner demons. And I'm serious. I was having to play the wizard. Also, my name's not Tick. It's William. Oh, really? Your parents actually named you William? You're after my great grandfather. He was a respected man in his village in Romania. The king are impressed. Oh, you're lucky. Named me Hey. My parents just called me Hey You. Let's go get the wizards to teach you some magic. I'm just gonna edit that to be. Let's look at the wizard section of the source book. Let's keep the supernatural elements to in the game within the game. This is gonna be just meta narrative hell. Spend the next couple hours looking through the book, making a character with your friends. They tell you to make a barbarian, but you really want to play wizard. I'm playing a wizard and that's final. You end up making a fire elementalist who has an affinity to earth, which balances out his destructive nature. Something you're used to, really. You're not the warrior type, you're a lover. Poet, a dreamy-eyed intellectual who spends his time reading books and living in his head. You really wish you were playing a bard. It's like, well, I've made a wizard. Damn it, this concept works better as a bard. Change your mind and make your character a bard, nerd instead. You begin making a bard. No, 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 the large man says suddenly. Which of my friends is a large man? Is it Mike? Their fingers hover over the large list of races, which includes such real-world examples as gnomes, fairy, and little frighteningly, Xeno. Yeah, that is extremely ambiguous. Seeing as how, like in Stellaris, for instance, Xeno was used as just a derogatory term term for alien. Barbarian is the best choice for the first game, the large man says. He has a point. His name is Tick. And he's been your gaming buddy for most of your life. Tick is real. Tick is a real human man. He's not just the gnome that I sealed in the tabletop RPG chamber. Perhaps it was all a dream. Tick, let me build character I want, or I'm not playing. Fine, Tick says in a huff. It's obvious he doesn't like the way your character is shaping up to be a good guy, but there's little he can do about it now. Tick's probably a murder hobo. Finish building the new bard. You think of a name for your character, William, after your great grandfather, not after myself, after my great grandfather, who is also my namesake. This is gonna get confusing. Like inevitably somebody's gonna be like maybe the bard is also named after his great grandfather, who is also named William, and is from a village in fantasy Romania. Wait patiently for the game master to establish the initial scene. Who even is the game master? I don't know. Alright, brave William, Tick says, staring at you menacingly from beneath his bushy eyebrows. Oh, he's the game master too? Yeah, I think this was, in fact, I think the tabletop RPG chamber was a dream. To stand up, telling us to stand up to a real life bully who was also named Tick. And is just generally kind of an asshole. Like, he's not a supernatural being that exists to torment in the form of a vampiric gnome, but you just graduated from the best magic university in the realm. It's the start of a new semester and you have no classes today. Where do you go? Tick looks at you expectantly. I go down to the quad to see who's there. I'm going to make him make up NPCs. You go down to the quad to see who's there. Tick says slowly, pausing to think, pausing to generate NPCs in his head. Alright, you go down to the quad to see who's there. Tick stares at you, weighing your defiance. It's a classically styled adventure. I also have the option of, alright, you do that. I'll probably run into you later because you have no idea where your classes are. Tick sets his face down. I think we're about done here for now, so we can just have a college adventure. I'm gonna go with the one that keeps the quad thing as being in the game within the game. After all, I did say and not do. He snaps his fingers and a new paragraph materializes. You're saying in the quad of the university you graduated from, it's packed with people. Dang, he's good. Like, for a shitty GM, he's got skills. You see a lot of people you know, but only a few people are close to you. You have a lot of connections at this university, and they can help you greatly in your future endeavors. Oh, what are their names? He's clearly keeping it vague to avoid having to describe. He's probably keeping it vague to try and avoid having to describe a whole bunch of NPCs. But I'm going to force the issue. Oh, takes asks, all right. you know, tell me the names of some of my classmates. He snaps and a new list of names appears. Don't bother memorizing them, they won't come up again. How do you keep doing that? Materializing anything document instead of thin air, I mean. The magic, William, Tick says, rolling his eyes. Magic. He steps once more and the screen displays. Help. Press Y to see the controls. You press Y. What? Actually, fuse to press Y. You're not about to let him own this game in by automating it. It was some kind of visual trick. Good, William Hig drones. You press the button to give yourself a hint. I did not press as the button tick. Stop with the railroading and let me socialize with my former classmates. Well, you certainly seem to have the desire to do that. Fine, I'll let you do that. Just don't blame me when it doesn't go well. Alright? I walk up to the nearest this familiar person and greet them. Who are they? You walk up to a girl you remember being in your class at one point or another. She's cute, although not cute as her girlfriend, of course. She looks approachable. Hey. Ask Tick. Since when do I have a girlfriend? I never included that in my backstory. In the backstory I gave you. You introduced her to me a week ago, Tick says, frowning. I'm talking about in the game, not my real life girlfriend. Oh, Tick pauses and shrugs. I thought it would make the story better if your character had a girlfriend, he said, as simply. I mean, all you've shown is a lack of regard for the lore I so carefully crafted. I think you're making a bit too much of this, William. Tick sits down and on the stairs and sighs. Maybe I am being a bit too harsh about this. Let's get back to the game. Yes, let's. Tick says. He snaps his finger. The screen disappears. We're inside your dorm room, he says. When did we get here? Weren't we just on the quash? Yes, but you had to walk here from the university, Tick says. Okay, just gonna just gonna leave that be. Don't worry, I skipped all the boring parts, walking to the dorm, unpacking, chatting with your roommate about classes, all that stuff. We jumped straight to the good bit. And what is the good bit exactly? Please don't tell me it's like erotic roleplay. Tick smiles. The first day of class, he says. Screen fades and shows a new scene. Professor standing in front of a whiteboard filled with mathematics. It's way over your head. So guess we're doing a flashback sequence? From the first day? As you can see, your primary focus this semester will be the study of group theory and its impact on string theory. Before we begin today's discussion, are there any questions? Out of character, her question is the girl from before her on the quad in this class? Please don't interpret that as an in-character question. Yes, she is, Tick says. He snaps the screen. He, and the screen changes to show a board filled with more complex mathematics. You recognize absolutely nothing that's written on it. Okay, so maybe we're getting somewhere. Now then. Tick says as you start paying attention to the new screen. The class goes on for a long time, too long, nearly as long as the real thing. By the end of it, you're thoroughly lost. Dang, he's distracting me with math. You don't get any of the mathematics. You only remember that your character is supposed to be studying them, so you try your best to seem engaged and informed. Tomorrow's class should be much simpler. Tick says the screen fades to black. You're back in your dorm room with the lights off. Out of character. Or question. What do bards even use advanced math for? Like, why is my character even taking this class? Tick seems to ponder this question for a moment. I don't know, he admits after a short pause. You just do it, okay? Okay, you know what? My character realizes that he is destined to be a bard and withdraws from the math class so he can focus on learning the art of performance, the performance magic. Yes, Tick says, smiling. The screen fades to black once again, and you find yourself in the dorm once more. Right, so Tick is being a better GM than I expected. You get to roll anything or anything. The second semester starts in a week. You'll do much better in the math class if you actually went to it for a few more weeks and learned the basics. I'm not taking the math class. this anymore. I withdrew. You remember? Go to class, Tick says. Your character's where would go. You sigh, realizing that Tick is right. You don't get it to dictate what my character does or would do. He is the one thing the GM can't control. I'm the GM and I can't, Tick replies. He slams his finger and a blackboard appears in your hands. It's not how the game works, Tick. So now he's back to being an asshole. We're starting over, Tick says. Now do what I say. Gluey sets the board down on the table. The screen fades once more. You know what? Pick up the blackboard and throw it at Tick. That is escalated to violence. The board flies through the air. Tick catches it in with one hand. We're doing this now, then, he asks. Before you have time to react, a sword materializes in his hands. Alright, he says. I'll give you one free hit. He tosses the sword in your direction. I need to think of something. Look around the room. I need this is the kind of thing that works sort of as a logic puzzle. You're sitting in a large, empty black room. I'm pretty sure it's not actually empty, however. There there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes. Tick is seemingly like omnipotent or something. So, after all, he can materialize screens, blackboards, documents, and swords. He can create visuals of advanced math that possibly even he doesn't understand. That's probably why he has such an obsession with control. Throw down sword and refuse to use it. If you let him control you, he still wins even if he gets hurt in the process. As soon as you let go of the sword, it disappears from view. Tick shakes his head. You just confirmed I'm better than you, he says and snaps his fingers. Attack while he's focused on his magic. You lunge forward, tackling Tick to the ground. He tries to cast another spell, but you quickly grab him by the neck and hold him down. Break his snapping fingers. I meant fingers, but Hey, break one and then no more snapping. Grab his middle finger on his right hand, bend it backwards. It snaps, and Tick screams in pain. And he stops struggling. Let's stop this charade, you say, standing up. You pull Tick to his feet. He goes willingly. You're really too powerful for this to be much of a challenge for you, Tick says. Just let me die in peace. No. You still have a chance to be good. You can choose to redeem yourself. Elf, rather than dying a villain. And I have no clue to spell villain, apparently. And if you would just let go of your obsessive need to control everything. Tick stares at you for a while, then begins to speak. You know, oh, he says, you're the first person who said that in a while. Tick thinks for a moment. Then he smiles. I think I've had enough of this world, he says. Let's go. You and Tick exit the room. The screen goes black. A new message appears. You have prevailed against the Game Master. You won by refusing to play by the rules and winning without any skill or strategy. It seems you've beaten the system. Congratulations. Wow. Apparently Tick was a freaking simulation. Hook yourself from the VR or setup and re-enter the real world. So actually, it was a game within a. So actually, it was a game within the game within the game that we were playing. You hook yourself from the VR, and find yourself back in the real world. You're in a small room made of solid concrete. There's a door which is locked. You knock on it. Hello, you say? A voice from outside the door answers, Hello, so you survived. I knew you would. Tick, is that you? The door clicks open. Is it? Is Tick a real person? The door clicks open. Standing outside is Tick, now hacking his Game Master uniform. So did you change your mind? Did you decide to not play nice and follow the rules? No. And I think that is exactly what I was supposed to do. So maybe in the end, and I did play by the rules in a roundabout way. Interesting. Tick says, Well, it won't work, sorry to tell you. What won't work, you ask? I'm gonna go with, interesting. Tick throws an apple to you, you catch it, then take a bite. So now what, you ask? Now we wait, Tick says. Wait for what? For the world to end, of course, Rustic says, "What do you mean, you ask? The game's not over yet. Feel your heart stop for a moment." You mean the game's not over? I just got out of VR and saw a game, uh, a victory message, and everything. But that was just the first game, Tick says. First game, you ask. Yes, there's going to be a second game. Are you insane? So it's like the game within the game within the game within the game. There's not going to be a second game. The first game was it. The first game was just to get your character ready for the real deal. Tick explains. My character? I wasn't I wasn't playing a character when I beat the game. I was just it was me. Tick laughs easily. Laughs evilly. Nice try, but the first game was all about your character. This one is all about you. He says, "Trust me, the second game was a lot worse." Well, if I learned anything from the first game, I'm not playing this one. Uh, I shouldn't do a single little thing you say. I won't be you playing it anymore. More of your games. Suit yourself, Tick says. I'll just leave you here to rot then. You hear a loud metallic clank and turn around. The door is shutting and will soon seal shut. Jam the door with an available object or one of your own limbs if you have to. You pick up a heavy object off the floor and jam it in the door, preventing it from shutting. Unfortunately, your arms aren't strong enough to keep the door open, and it slowly begins to close, crushing your limbs. Hmm. Hurrying yourself into the door. The door crushes your body, breaking, hitting every bone inside it, to slowly bleed to death inside the metal prison. Fantastic. The end. You reached the good ending. Please proceed to start the next game, entitled Sheer Panic. Okay, well, it's 3:16 a.m., so I think that's actually where I'm going to leave it. However, we will be playing Sheer Panic next time I stream this, I guess. Which, I mean, that just means that we've reached the level of game within the game, of the tabletop RPG being a game within the game within the game within the game. Because, it's a tabletop RPG which is within a VR game, which is within in whatever game perceives sheer panic, which is within AI Dungeon. It's time to call it a night. So thank you all for watching. I'll stream this again at some point. For now, I'm gonna for somebody to send a raid to. All right, so we've got exactly one other person in the AI Dungeon 2 category, so let's send them a raid.